everyone. Welcome back to a new season of Freelance Creative Exchange. I'm your host, Jace. Over the years, we have met many Singaporean creatives who have actually headed overseas to actually hone their craft and pursue their goal. So in this new series, we actually explore and speak to more Singaporeans who are actually currently overseas, right, to learn more about how they start out and actually build their career away from Singapore. So very happy, and it's really our pleasure today to be on a call with Perry, who is currently based in Sydney. Perry, would you like to say hi?
Hey everyone, it's great to be here. I hope you guys are doing well and having a good year ahead.
Yeah, I hope you are
Yeah,
doing well too. Yeah, so um, Perry is actually an award-winning director, motion graphic designers, as well as a content producer with a passion for creating compelling visual content that informs, engage, as well as, of course, influence audience. So he currently works at Nine News in Australia, conceptualizing and producing motion graphics that support and enhance the daily news updates on Nine's core broadcast program. So his latest work, the science fiction film Afterlife, right, which I'm sure a lot of our audience would probably be familiar with, has been selected.
hopefully. If not, go watch it.
Yes, exactly. If
Yeah,
not, please go and look for it.
yeah.
Right, it's still on
It's
social
it's
media
on.
on
Yeah,
stories. Yeah, it's on all
yeah,
social media platforms.
yeah.
Right. So and Afterlife has been selected for 6 film festivals around the world since the early release in
Mm,
2020, right? And congratulations for all the acrylics that
thanks.
you have got, despite a very tough year ahead.
It is,
I mean,
but
yeah,
thanks. It couldn't have done it without like without the stories team's support. The infrastructure there really helped us like push it over the line. So really grateful for that, and I'm really happy how it turns out for that the audience are showing so much love for the film as well, and I'm really passionate about it. So it's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what are
Yeah.
the current projects that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, currently I work at Nine News. So as mentioned, so I'm constantly working on like the latest breaking stories every day. When I start my shift, things that I covered so far. I mean, in 2020, there's so many things that happened in 2020 that I was like part of, for better and for worse, because there are things where it's like tragedies that happen, like when you update a coronavirus, like the death toll, it just look, it's just bad, it's just awful, but it's something that we have to get the information, we have to get it out there so that as many people will be informed about how things are going around the world. And we did cover early on in 2020. We did cover about the bushfires in Australia. That was a thing as well. That we worked on that. So every day I'll be doing things like these, like breaking news stories, where we'll do graphics for the days for the day's 6 p.m. news and the Today Show.
Yeah,
In terms of like, yeah, so it's interesting. It's very fast paced. It's a news environment, so it's very fast paced. Everything's like on a curve, on a very steep curve. But I enjoy it. It's very intense, but I enjoy it, and it's pretty rewarding for me. In terms of like side projects, what I'm currently working on is I'm working with this Italian vaporwave musician named AV0 on motion graphics and animations for his latest album. So I'm doing these motion graphics for his vaporwave. Vaporwave is a music genre where it's very nostalgic.
mm,
So it is something that I enjoy exploring. If you look at my Instagram page, it's all about nostalgia. It's about synthwave. It's about the 80s. I love the 80s, like a lot of
mm,
people do. So I do graphics around those lines. And I
mm,
began working with this Italian musician. His name's AV0. And he's about to release his latest album. And he wanted, like, I enjoy collaborating with him when it comes to, like, motion graphics and animations for his latest album. So to supplement his album release when he releases it on YouTube. So
mm,
that's what I've been doing. And additionally, in terms of like films, I'm still writing scripts. I mean, I would love obviously to get back to the director's chair and to work on another film, but I'm still refining the process and the narrative. I just want
mm,
to make sure that if I make another film, it is something that I want to make before I actually go about doing it, and I have to
mm.
do it well as
Mm.
usual. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, sounds like a lot of things on your plate, right? I mean, other than the very, hectic time, I'm sure, in
Yeah.
the newsroom, and then on top
Yeah.
of that, you're having your side hustle, side project as well. Yeah. So what made you move to Sydney then in the first place?
I think I was lucky in a sense because
Mm,
after NS, I actually knew what I wanted to be. Not many people coming out NS knows what they want to be. I was lucky in that sense that I already knew, okay, this is what I want to do. What this is what I want to do. I want to be a filmmaker.
mm,
And in to do so, I had to learn how to be a filmmaker. And so I decided to move to Sydney. And my move to Sydney was predicated on that whole decision. Like, okay, I want to learn how to be a filmmaker. And so I was enrolled at Macquarie University, which had a strong media program.
mm,
So I just joined that one and started learning because I felt that look, it's just why I moved to Sydney. I mean, compared to staying in Singapore, I think I can't say what is it like in terms of like opportunities in Singapore and in terms of like learning what type of films to make. But I was because since I haven't worked there since like 2012, since I left, except for when I came back for Afterlife,
yeah.
that was like that was in 2020. Yeah, that was like the first time in I think almost 6 to 7 years where I actually started working in Singapore again. So I'm not too sure how things have changed, but I will say this. I will say this: the films that I've made so far, I would never have been able to make them in Singapore if and my career would have turned out differently because my first film wasn't like a family drama or it wasn't
Mm,
uh like an art house film or it wasn't something that was traditionally what you would expect from uh if I work in Singapore, if I studied in Singapore and learned in Singapore. My first film was a real life superhero documentary about an actual superhero who patrols Sydney. Like that's a true story. Someone actually dresses up as a superhero and in body armor and goes out to patrol. I mean that's a story that doesn't happen in Singapore at all. So and so that was literally my first film. So I won't think I think my career would have gone on differently. And after that, I started obviously I made Tony, the science fiction thriller. Then after I made Afterlife.
mm.
So I don't think if had I stayed in Singapore, I won't say it would be bad. I would just say that the opportunities that I get will be very different, and I'll be making a different type of films and different series of films. That's how I'll put it.
Do you
Yeah.
think it has to do a lot with the culture, with the people, with the mindset in that sense, that caused the difference in your career roadmap if you would have started in Singapore instead of Sydney? What
So
do you think is the main differentiating factors, right, that actually cause um, the different path that you will be taking, right,
yeah,
between Singapore and Sydney?
I think I think it really depends on what sort of because I was taught very I can't speak for the Singaporean way of how things have been taught because
Mm,
I've never studied there. I studied in Australia. When I studied in Australia, they obviously teach you the basics of cinematic language about film, and then after that they teach you the technical stuff, which I'm pretty sure Singaporeans do. I think in terms, as you said, it's the culture. I would say the difference would be it's just we don't do a lot of genre films and we don't exactly like science fiction like horror like action.
yeah, because I think I certainly do agree, right?
Yeah,
That the path would be different, right?
yeah,
But I'm just wondering, right? Is
yeah,
it because is it the lack of creativity here, right, or
yeah.
the lack of risk taking part, that a
Oh
Singaporean
yeah,
always, that
yeah,
cause
okay,
the
okay, I
difference.
get it now. Yeah,
Yeah, but again, like we can't say
yeah.
that we lack creativity because we have
No, we
filmmakers like
can't,
you.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean, for the longest time,
and
I think
everyone else. Yeah,
yeah. So for
yeah,
the longer time, I guess Singapore has always been trying to, how should I say, to plug this gap, right? Because
yeah,
as all I would say first world countries, right?
yeah,
Like China, like the US, and even India, right?
Yeah.
Bollywood, they all have a very successful film career,
Yeah.
and having successful film industry, having a successful
Industry.
film
Yeah.
industry actually kind of help, right, to portray,
Yeah.
kind of like the image, right, or kind of speak more about the culture of a specific place, right? So
Okay.
in that sense, but we hasn't been very successful in a way,
Yeah.
right, in terms of clearly having our own niche, right, in the global filmmaking
Yeah.
scene. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always asking myself, what is the difference, right?
Yeah.
Because we
Okay. I
do
think I know
see
what
the
you're trying to
difference.
say.
We do see
Yeah.
the difference in
Yes. Yes.
filmmakers, right? Those that are based here and those that
Yeah.
actually currently based overseas,
Yeah.
right? So what caused the change,
I
and whether
think
is it something that we can replicate in Singapore?
it really depends. I won't say we are not creative. I mean, we have a lot of creative people. That's the
Mm,
thing. It's just how well, a lot of people are creative. I mean, the actors, the cast, the crew, everyone knows what they are doing. That's the thing. That's the beautiful part of it. Everyone seems to know what they are doing. I think when it came to something such as risk taking, I think that's the thing.
mm,
When it comes to risk taking, I think it's not just risk. I also think there's the idea of failure is very different within what the Australians, I mean, like what Westerners would think, or someone overseas, like say from China or India, and
mm,
compared to what failure is in Singapore. I think to most Australians, and I can't speak for everyone to be honest, but I would say from what I've seen, failure is a learning experience and it's really nice. I mean, we are a smaller industry. We have to understand this. So the amount of risk we can take is also scaled towards that. So we can take
mm,
less risk because we are a smaller industry. And because of that, if we fail, it's usually seen as a black mark or on one's character or one's career than an actual learning experience. It's like, oh, okay, you already done this before, you cannot do what? So
mm.
what's the point? So why I should find you again? It's just that compared to say, okay, look, this is a learning experience. You failed. It's tough, but we have to keep going. We have to keep going.
So how is it like to be a Singaporean, starting out in a foreign countries for you then? Right. That's like 8 years ago, right? How is
Yeah.
it like when you're starting out then? And how do you actually land your first job in Sydney?
Oh yeah. It was tough. It was very tough. I'm not gonna lie on this. It was very tough. It was very tough. It was tough finding jobs because at the time I was on a student visa. So
Mm,
my student visa status at the time allowed a limited working hours. You weren't allowed to work full time. You're only allowed to work part time. So you are only allowed to work part time. So that was the issue. And I had to intern and freelance a lot. So that was the thing. And I had to take up like odd jobs sometimes. I think there was one day where I was doing bricklaying or something. It was look, it paid money. It was good money. So I was like,
mm,
okay, I'll just I was a laborer for like a day or something. As laying bricklaying or something. So it was okay. It just paid it got me money. It got me
mm,
ahead. And then after I interned somewhere else, like I interned as a motion graphics designer because there was this feature film that needed a, uh, a motion graphics designer. They weren't paying, but they were interning someone. So I was like, okay, I'll just do this one. It was recommended. It was opportunity that was recommended by my lecturer. So
mm,
I just took it like, oh yeah, sure. I mean, it's a feature film, a Australian sci-fi feature film, whatever. That sounds cool. I don't mind. It looks cool. It's good for the resume. So I did the motion graphics design. I just passed it to them, and I think after a couple of, and I thought nothing of it because at the time it was just cool. I was just very happy to be in it, to be credited as to do the graphics. And like 2 years later, I think 1 or 2 years later, the production designer who was managing that particular section of motion graphics that I was doing messaged me back, emailed me back, and said, "Hey Perry, we are on Netflix." I'm
mm,
like, what? I was like, what do you mean we are on Netflix? I was like, yeah, we are on Netflix. And then we got just, I don't think, I'm not too sure if the film's on Netflix anymore,
mm,
but I mean, it's still, at that time, it was on Netflix. This is amazing. I was like, so I was in, I got credited in like this film that was on Netflix, which I was really excited about. So I would say it was tough starting out, but you have to literally take every opportunity you have because you don't know where all the opportunities will go. Some of them will go nowhere, but every once in a while you get this opportunity that 1 or 2 years later pays off, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. We got somewhere. The film got on Netflix, and I got credited. It was amazing. It was great. I was really happy, and I also when I was studying at the same time, because since it was tough, but I already knew that more or less there were things that in filmmaking in production that not many people would want to do. Like things um, like motion graphics design. Not a lot of people like doing that. People like doing video editing, cinematography, all the cool ones. Apparently, motion graphics is not considered cool, but I don't know. I might be wrong. But at that time, no one wanted to do it. So when it came to like the filmmaking, someone would make a film, then I would just edit the credits and do it I'll animate the credits in like this very fanciful way, and to make it more aesthetically pleasing, rather than just like Times New Roman and then the thing just scrolls up like that. I don't want to do that. I want to make it. I'll make cool motion graphics. So I just did that, and I just did all these, and I learned every level of production after that. And my first job in the sense was a video production officer. I worked for the university that I studied in. I
Mm.
worked there for I think a year or something, if I remember correctly. I'm not too sure anymore, but yeah, it's around there. It's been a while. So what I did was lesson tutorials and video interviews with lecturers for in-house corporate videos and marketing videos. So it's not it's not the latest Batman movie. It's not like this very bombastic thing, but it is very important. These are the sort of things that the university needs. And at the same time, it also helped me improve my craft because I learned more about technical knowledge when it comes to like how to mic someone up, how to work a green screen, how to shoot with in different times of the day, how to use different type of lenses, and how do you do motion graphics in a more efficient way. So no one gets to direct a big feature film right off the get-go. So we all had to start small. So that was what I did. I just took up every opportunity that was given because I had no we had no choice. Like if you're an outsider, let's face it, this is the life for this is the life. You have to take out every opportunity that you have, and that's what I did.
So how did actually Hype Phase 2 comes about?
Oh, okay. So this thing was this is an initiative. This is a banner that I have where I put all my projects on from here on out. It is I what I did was after making the sci-fi thriller Tony, I decided I wanted to challenge myself more as a filmmaker. If Black Rat, the real life superhero documentary I did in 2016, was like the first step of my career, with Phase 2, I intend to push myself creatively into different genres, styles, and techniques. With Hype Phase 2, I started working more with like vaporwave artists on motion graphics, which was very rewarding creatively. And I also wanted to explore different genres. Like I shot and edited travel music video called Virtual Garden Hardwired, which is a travel music video of my trip in Japan. Like I just went to Japan. I just wanted to shoot stuff because I just want to explore the travel video genre because no one does that often. And usually when we do it in like a very cinematic way. I just want to do it like in a more retro aesthetic type of look. And then of course after I did these, there was like the two crown jewels like so far of Fight Phase 2, which is the two science fiction stories I did, which was Tony and Afterlife. With both of them, I wanted to do was create a shared universe of genre films. Something like Black Mirror or like Twilight Zone, where I can constantly add stories in. Tony and Afterlife take place in the same universe. They take place in a self-contained universe where both stories are part of this larger overarching story. And I want to continue adding to that. Like I want to add other different type of stories into this universe as well to make it as diverse and detailed as possible. So yeah, that's how High Phase 2 came about. I just wanted to try new things and push what I can do with it.
No, I think that's a very interesting way, right? You seems
Yeah,
to have, given them like a persona, given them like a house that they belongs to, and actually
yeah,
kind of set your vision, right? As a
yeah,
filmmakers, like what type of genre and what kind of I would say stories that you're exploring. I'm just
yeah,
wondering, right? I mean, it's like you have a full-time job with Nine,
yeah,
right? And then someone is in news, right? And then on
yeah,
top of that, you have all these grand visions, right, of all the
yeah.
films that you want to make. So how do you actually balance your time in that sense, right?
Yeah. For me, it's I would say this is not this is just my way of dealing with it. I think when you want it bad enough, you will find the time to do it. Personally, for me, but uh, what my timetable usually is I will go to work, come back home. If I'm tired, if it's like a 3 a.m. shift, I come home at around like 12 p.m. So once I come back around like 12 p.m., I'll either like rest a couple of hours, go to sleep because like, I'm way too brain dead to do anything else, and uh and then I'll wake up, do whatever side projects that I have, and then I'll continue writing the script that I have. Then I'll go to sleep. That's how I usually balance my time. Either that or if I become too tired, I make sure that because burnout is definitely an issue. I don't want to be burnout, so I will just take breaks. Sometimes I'll just go to the gym. You don't have to push yourself unless you are ready for it. That's how I feel personally. Because there are times where I'm pretty sure people want to keep saying, "Oh, you have to hustle." Yeah, but at the same time, you need time to step back and take a breather to soak it all in. Okay, where am I going with this? Sometimes you have to do that. Yeah, and that's what I do.
So how has it been since the release of Afterlife till now?
Oh, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna be honest. I think when it came to Afterlife, I was very happy in this. I'm very happy and grateful about like how it has helped me get a higher profile when it comes to Singapore. To be honest, I mean, before I worked in because I've never worked in Singapore. This is like literally I think my second my first project in Singapore in a long while. So I wasn't well known, or I'm still not well known now, but I mean I'm not that
Better
well
now,
known.
better
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
better
better
now,
now.
definitely. I'm in a much better place in terms of my profile in Singapore because after it's released, Mary, we got on Cinema World. That's one. That's pretty cool on cable. Chris, the actor who was in Cinema in Afterlife, he was very excited about that. And to be honest, I am too. It was like we're on a cable TV show, and everyone is excited. My Australian crew, the Jazz who did the music, and the guy and the production designer, the prop designer who designed the device, David, they were excited as well because they was like, this is amazing. So that's cool. They're very excited. They were really happy. And getting over 150K views overall in social media, I think that was really great. So I pretty much announced that, yeah, hey guys, I'm here to stay. So I'm very happy with that. And internationally, I think we got that's for locally. I mean, I'm just happy that people now know that okay, Perry, this guy, he can do he can do what he says he can do, like filmmaking. He can do filmmaking definitely. Then internationally, I'm just happy we happy and really humbled to get into a lot of like all these festivals. A lot of sci-fi festivals because we've been playing a lot over there, and they are really happy with it. And we got translated into Russian, which is very exciting. And it's very nice to see someone literally in another part of the world just be excited for your film, and they say, "Oh, there was one I had to. I think Chris translated one of the YouTube comments on the Russian on our Russian dub of our film of Afterlife, and one of them was after watching the film, I went to hug my grandma. Like literally, that was one of the comments. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome. Thank you. That's it's just I'm just happy that it has an impact on people." And both Singapore and international fans have been really nice. Really, they have really embraced the film, and some even messaged me about theories on the film, and what it means to them. Like, is it really the mom? Was the final scene? The final scene was that was that really was that a hologram or was that the real mom spirit? There, some of them were like coming out theories like this because the scene before that, he was looking at he was making eye contact and he was staring at the praying altar for very long. So people were theorizing, okay, was this a spiritual thing or is this like a technology thing again? So they were like they were like they were sending me theories. So I'm very happy that it's been embraced, and to be honest, I'm very happy with the support that stories have shown for the film as well, because they promoted the work, they helped us grow the audience, and that really helped us.
I think that's actually what we want to achieve with Story as well. Really,
Yep,
working hand in hand with the filmmakers, right? And I
yep,
think one very important thing that you point out is really the impact of the stories, right?
yeah,
So I think, while filmmaking's media are sexy, but at the end of the day, I think we want to put it into good use, right?
yep,
To hone our craft, right? So that it can
yes,
actually bring about a change that we want to see in
yep,
the world that we lived in, right? But
yeah.
given the successful receptions and all this, right? Is that something that you would have expected it, or is it something
I
that you want the outcome to be like that, or actually it kind of differs slightly from the outcome that you have expect when you first conceptualize Afterlife?
For me, it was the by my how was it? My approach was always been this is the same with Tony and Black Rat. My approach was always been simple. It's like, okay, we do this. After this, I'm gonna promote. I'm gonna make this film. I'm gonna send it over to festivals, and that was always been my approach to things, because I think the films that I make, I want people to see them. I want the more people see them, the more I can make an impact. They can have different reactions. They might love it, they might hate it. Doesn't matter. As long as it gets it in and people watch, they form their own opinion on it. That I've done my job. And when it came to this, I wouldn't say I would expect success. I'm not that. I wouldn't say that I would expect. Oh, this is totally what I had in mind. I was very surprised by how people. I mean, in a good way. I'm definitely surprised in a way about how we are our film is accepted so well, and and it reached such a universal audience. It wasn't just like just in Singapore. It was just globally. We reached everywhere. So I wouldn't say I would expect it. I would say that I have prepared to make sure that I will promote the film to the best of my ability, and to make sure that it gets to as wide an audience as possible. And I think that we have achieved that in a sense, and I'm very happy about it. And there's still a long way to go. I still got a lot of things planned out. So
I'm
yeah,
sure
there's
you
that.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you have a lot more stories as well at the back of your
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
So
No, definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So having, making short films in Singapore, in
Mm,
Sydney, and being part, of the filmmaking industries, how do you think Singaporean stories can
mm,
continue to stay authentic and still actually have international appeals, like, Afterlife?
yeah. I think it really depends on. That's a good question. Actually, I think it really depends on the story itself. Some stories are very culturally steeped, so they are only produced and they only exist within the bubble within the culture. And some of them can transcend boundaries. It really depends on what sort of stories people would want to tell. I mean, it's all up to the filmmaker, I think. What works for me doesn't usually work for someone else. What works for someone else doesn't usually work for me. I think, but when it comes to, I would say, when it comes to Singapore audiences, we there's a bit of a difference I can tell, in the sense that what people value. For international audiences, I think they value timelessness more
Mm,
versus how locals would value timeliness. What I mean is that what do I mean by this is they are more accepting of when it comes to global audiences, they're more accepting of like the timelessness of a film. That means it can take place in the past or in the far-flung future. They value the themes and ideas of a movie, of a film, such as of film genres such as science fiction, horror, action. That this is why they can strive, because this is they value what they say, even though it isn't very timely. But this this approach could lead to the film needing like years or even maybe decades to be appreciated, like Blade Runner. That took like decades before the film was finally said, guys, this is a masterpiece. You know, why did we miss this out? So I think people, international audiences tend to go for timeliness more. They want things that are timeless, that are classical. But for Singapore audiences, I think we value timeliness more than timelessness. We want things that take place in present day, which is why, John, when it comes to films and content that we create, we tend to gravitate towards comedy and drama, where the contents, where the concerns and the anxieties always take place in real time, right now. But the consequences, obviously, of this approach is that we might not the stuff that we create might not age well. They may be lame, may be boring in a couple of years or even months. There's nothing wrong. It's just there's this difference lah.
Mm, mm. So, what kind of advice do you have for your fellow Singaporean creative who is looking at to move abroad? For their, I would say, next career move, right?
Oh,
What are some of
yeah.
the advice that you have for them?
Oh wow. I'm not too sure if I'm the expert for this. Hopefully, hopefully, I my stuff, whatever I say works for you guys. Hopefully, but I'm just kidding. But this is going to sound a bit cliche, but seriously, work your ass off and be prepared to fail a lot, because believe me, I failed a lot. It's just the nature of the beast. You are starting from scratch, so don't expect instant results. For me personally, I mean, if you ask me, it took me a while. It took me like close to a decade to get to where I am, and I'm still learning and honing my craft. It is not easy by any sense of the word, but but is it worth it? I would say yes, personally for me. And just work your ass off. Take every single opportunity that you have, because like if people don't want the opportunity, go and take it. Unless it's like obviously an exploitative opportunity, then don't do it. But just take it, learn from it, learn how it goes, because that's opportunities are hard to come by, especially if you're an outsider in a foreign land. And that's always been the case for anyone. It's not just for Singaporeans. This is for everyone. You know. And oh yeah, and always negotiate your salary. I mean, that's very important. That I think that's I mean, unless yeah, always negotiate when it comes to like freelance gigs, that sort of thing. That's I think that's very important. Yeah.
Would you actually advise, someone to just pack their bag and just go, or would you think that there's a lot more research and homework, right, that a
Yeah.
freelancer should take into consideration before even deciding, which country to go to, for example, right? So which approach, actually, personally for yourself, which approach do you take? Is it something like just pack your bag and go, or
No,
is
I
it
did. Wow,
a calculated one?
it's a calculated one. I knew I had. Okay, this is just my personal opinion. I knew going on. I was like, oh, I just came out of NS. I was like, in my early 20s, I think 23 or something. Yeah. Um, I knew I wouldn't have a lot of chances to succeed. I didn't come from an affluent family. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't come from I didn't know people who's gonna help me out. I don't have that. So I knew very early on, okay, you have to minimize as many of your losses as possible and maximize as many of your wins. So I had to research a lot. I had to research, okay, is this where I want to go? What is it like here? Is I had to research on what kind of uni I wanted to go. I chose this uni because he had like Macquarie University, because he had a very robust media course. So that's why I chose it. So I researched all these things, and I just thought that that was probably the best route, because if I pack my bags and go where I want to go, I wouldn't have ended up in Australia. I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Where do
Yeah,
you think you'll end up with?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It's I have no idea. I'm not a big traveler, but the places I want to go. I mean, I will go for leisure. That's the thing. I want to go to Japan for leisure. I want to go to Bali for leisure. I don't want to go there to work. It's like it's I don't go to America to work. I want to go there. I probably go to Hollywood. I've been to Hollywood, but I want to go there just like, this is the great Hollywood that I heard about. It's not that I'm going there to work. I wouldn't want to go to. But for work, I had to research, because if you're coming here to make a career, you have to put yourself down in front of the computer, research where you're going, what's the location like, how far, how the bus routes, what buses you're gonna take to school, to work, your trains, what's it like living there. All these things have to be taken into consideration. If I packed my bags and left, I probably ended up in Bali. I don't know. That's not good. I mean, it's a good thing for vacation. Don't get me wrong. But for work, I think there are better people who work there than me. I'll put it this way. I don't think I'll be too distracted. Yeah,
Great. Thank you
yeah,
so much. Yeah,
no worries.
thanks a lot, Perry. Thank you for your
No
time.
worries.
So,
Yeah,
you know, yeah, so we have come to the end of the sharing sessions.
mm,
Really appreciate your very candid discussions and sharing with us
thanks for having me.
your
Yeah,
no, not at all. Really, glad that you have, you know, made afterlife with stories. It's
yeah,
something that we are very proud of as
yeah,
well. Yeah. All right.
yeah,
So, to the audience out there, subscribe and listen to our show, Freelance Creative Exchange, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Check out our website and join our Creative at Works community on Facebook, Instagram, and also our newly launched TikTok. Be kind, stay safe, and we'll chat soon. Bye.
yeah. See you, everyone.